Feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Says, don't stop. Keep going. That's the other thing she likes. You pretty girl. All right, I've got to get going, otherwise you're gonna hear it. She gives me that look like, what are you doing? Don't stop. So, I guess I better do this, otherwise she'll get really mad. This is Huck TV. It's her channel. She's the Queen Princess. And away we go with another deep dive into the unexplained wilderness. We've got an interesting one for you today, and I mean truly strange. This is probably one of the most unusual cases I've ever brought to your attention here on the Missing 411 podcast. It's one case, but it contains elements that defy all rational explanation. Today, we are heading deep into the vast, wet, and often eerily silent wilderness of Olympic National Park in Washington state. This is a rainforest environment, a place where the shadows are thick and the fog rolls in heavy. This is a story about a disappearance where the victim didn't just walk out. He claimed he was guided back by sounds that no one else ever recorded. The subject of our case is Christopher Worler, a 21-year-old man who vanished in June of 1997. Christopher lived in Port Angeles, right near the northern edge of the Olympic Peninsula. He was a young man with a military background, an Army veteran who had seen duty overseas. This veteran status is a key yet confusing detail. One would expect a man with military training to possess resilience and a basic grasp of navigation. He should have been better prepared for the physical and mental demands of the Pacific Northwest wilderness, but as you'll hear, the wild doesn't play by military rules. On Monday, June 2nd, his girlfriend dropped him off at the Whiskey Bend trailhead in Olympic National Park. Worler told her he was planning a 4- or 5-day backpacking trip, suggesting he'd hike toward Hume's Ranch and hitchhike home by Saturday, June 7th. He had a backpack, food, and a sleeping bag, but that's where the preparedness seemed to end. There's the first ominous note. Worler had no known backwoods navigation experience and virtually no overnight camping history. Olympic National Park is a brutal place. Its terrain is constantly changing, and its climate is unforgiving. It's a place where trails can vanish quickly, and the compass seems to spin for no reason. Then we get a brief, unsettling sighting. On June 3rd, the day after he was dropped off, Christopher encountered a park ranger upriver near the Elkhorn Ranger Station. He was moving fast, having covered 13 miles in a day. Worler approached the trail crew asking about his location, which is a major red flag right there. The ranger later recalled that he explained the map coordinates to Worler, but he didn't think the young man truly understood. That is a massive problem. In the wilderness, your job is to know your position at all times, especially in a region that has such a disturbing history of unexplained disappearances. After that brief conversation, Christopher Worler vanished completely. Nobody saw or heard from him again for days. He was supposed to be home by Saturday, June 7th. He failed to show, and his girlfriend, after waiting until the next day, filed the missing person report. This brings up a critical rule we emphasize on the Missing 411 podcast. You must have an unambiguous agreement with your partner. If you are not home by a specific day and time, the call must be made immediately. Every single hour can push you beyond the edge of survivability. The search began quickly on June 9th. The Park Service immediately confirmed a huge failure on Worler's part. He had never completed a backcountry permit. This piece of paper is the searcher's lifeline, outlining the route and expected return. Without it, the search teams were flying blind. Senior Ranger Gary Guile took charge, deploying helicopters, 3 initial dog teams, and ground crews. This was an aggressive response, but the lack of a known itinerary crippled their efficiency immediately. We always tell you, find a clearing, stay there, and use something bright, like an orange emergency poncho. Worler tragically did none of these things. The search quickly scaled up, bringing in specialized mountain rescue teams and up to 10 dog teams. They swept the Elwha Trail, the tributaries, and every branch trail he had mentioned. But despite the massive effort, the canine units were unable to pick up any scent, an inexplicable detail for a disappearance that was only days old. Then we encounter the first layer of dark irony. A local newspaper printed Worler's missing person story right beside the obituary for his stepfather, Don Helm. A quiet, unsettling coincidence that adds a layer of sorrow to the case. Whirler was battling the elements, unaware of the personal tragedy that had unfolded back home. The search effort reached its peak. 50 rangers, 10 dog teams, multiple helicopters. They were looking for a fit young man who should have been easily trackable. But as the days stretched into a week, the air grew thick with confusion. Something was keeping him hidden beyond the simple challenge of the terrain. Now, prepare yourself, because this is where the story truly crosses into the territory of the unexplained phenomena we track on the Missing 411 podcast. By Sunday, June 15th, Whirler had been gone for 7 days. The searchers were camped out 12 miles up the trail, deep in the wilderness. In the pre-dawn hours, a few rangers woke up to a disturbance. They saw someone moving through the shadows near the perimeter of their camp. To their utter disbelief, standing there, right in the middle of their camp, was Christopher Whirler. He was emaciated, having lost 25 pounds, but alive. The rangers rushed to him, giving him water and food. Whirler explained the basics. He got lost, stayed put for a few days, then made the critical mistake of leaving his camp for water and getting lost again. He'd been wandering without food for days. He claimed he heard the search helicopters and the whistles of the ground teams, but he was too weak to yell loud enough to respond. But then came the core of the mystery. When asked how he located their specific, remote camp, Whirler hesitated. He said that while stumbling through the dark forest, he began to hear a sound, a very distinct, faint melody, the sound of bagpipes and a flute. He claimed the music wasn't all around him, but consistently emanated from one direction. He followed the sound through the dark underbrush, walking through the entire night. As soon as he stepped into the light of the ranger's camp, the strange music immediately stopped. The chief ranger immediately dismissed the claim, blaming it on dehydration and hallucination. But we have to ask, what are the mathematical chances that an auditory hallucination would guide a lost man, with unerring precision, directly into the single spot where his rescuers were sleeping? That probability, folks, is 0. This case has all the classic signatures of a Missing 411 event. Sudden disorientation in a national park, military training rendered useless, and a recovery linked to an unexplained, localized acoustic phenomenon. The presence of the bagpipes and the flute is unique. It suggests something beyond typical rational explanation. What if the music wasn't a hallucination, but a genuine localized phenomenon? An acoustic energy specific to that valley in Olympic National Park. We know that these wilderness areas hold secrets, perhaps subtle forces that can influence human perception, acting as either a malevolent lure or, in Whirler's rare case, a benevolent guide. We must consider the possibility that he encountered something that has been documented in other Missing 411 files. An elusive, localized presence known to mimic sounds to confuse or even lure individuals. But here, for unknown reasons, it offered an audible path out of the deep woods, perhaps an anomaly within the anomaly. Whirler was incredibly lucky that the force that guided him, whether supernatural or a miracle, led him to safety, and didn't pull him deeper into the dark, silent heart of the rainforest. His life was saved by a sound that simply should not have been there. His search cost the National Park Service $80,000 back in 1997, a massive sum that came out of trail maintenance funds. This raises a crucial question. When a hiker blatantly disregards rules, should they face civil responsibility for the cost of their rescue? It's a heavy ethical debate we frequently address. So, what should you take away from the extraordinary story of Christopher Whirler and the phantom bagpipes? Always carry the essentials: a map, a compass, and a whistle. Most importantly, complete your permits and never leave your fixed camp when lost. This case remains a powerful reminder of the deep, unexplained mysteries lurking in the vast wilderness of our national parks. Whirler was disoriented, lost, and then recovered due to a sound that defies scientific explanation. It's just another piece of the strange puzzle we call Missing 411. Huck says, "Thanks for being here. Sorry she interrupted you. Maybe that little grumble woke some of you up. I know. I saw you nodding back there. Please post this on your social media. Let people see what we're doing here at the Missing 411 podcast." You can check out our new website and online store at missing411.com. That is the biggest change for us in years. And you can follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at @Canem_missing. Thank you. You guys are great. Be kind. We need more of it in our world. Missing 411 podcast out.